All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CMB checking in. And yes, it's kind of late, but I figured I'd get this content out. I'm sitting here reading this article, and I've been out all day. I figured I'd read these articles and get some of this content out to you tomorrow. But I figured why not just knock it out tonight, give you guys something to watch if you're up late. I'm sure it's early somewhere in the world. Shout out to the boxing fans out there around the world. And this article I'm looking at here is pertaining to Gervonta Tank Davis, the 135-pound WBA champion, and the newly crowned undisputed champion at light heavyweight, Artur Beterbiev. Now, apparently, John Scully, who is the coach of Artur Beterbiev, was asked about Gervonta Tank Davis, and it looks like he says that Gervonta Tank Davis is not a Hall of Fame fighter if he was to hang up his gloves at this point in his career. Now, of course, Gervonta Tank Davis got wind of this, and he kind of lashed out about it on Twitter. Let me quote him here. He says, "That big-ass goofy that he trains is not a Hall of Fame fighter, and he's ass." So that was Gervonta Tank Davis' response to John Scully on, John Scully's criticism or opinion of Gervonta Tank Davis' career at this point. So I want to get my 2 cents on how do I feel about what John Scully had to say, and how do I feel about what Gervonta Tank Davis has to say? Now, keep in mind, I'm a fan of Gervonta Tank Davis. I'm also a fan of Artur Beterbiev. And the thing is, you guys know I keep it real on the channel. I give my true, honest opinions, regardless of how I feel about a fighter. I would say I'm more of a Gervonta Tank Davis fan than an Artur Beterbiev fan. So let me put that out there first because I know the biasness that goes on boxing channels, in the sport of boxing in general, and that's why I try to be different. I try to be honest with my viewers. So let's tackle what Gervonta had to say about Artur Beterbiev. He says that he is not a Hall of Fame fighter, and my opinion of that is I have to totally disagree with Gervonta Tank Davis on this. I think Artur Beterbiev is a shoe-in for a Hall of Fame fighter. I mean, think about it. He just became the undisputed champion at light heavyweight, which was a very, very tough division, guys. I pull up his box rec right now. I'm looking at all these guys he's fought and knocked out, besides Bivol, of course. These were some pretty tough hombres. So he really did climb the ladder. He really did prove himself in this division, taking on guys like Marcus Brown, guys like Anthony Yard, Callum Smith, Joe Smith Jr., who I thought would be a really tough fight for Artur Beterbiev, and he smoked Joe Smith Jr. And of course, he just, became undisputed by defeating Dimitri Bivol, who had that last WBA title. So I honestly think he's definitely a shoe-in to be in the Hall of Fame. I think this is more of Gervonta Tank Davis feeling disrespected by his coach, and deep down he knows that Artur Beterbiev is, a shoe-in to be in the Hall of Fame. Most of us know that. So let's get back to what John Scully had to say about Gervonta Tank Davis not being a Hall of Famer if he hung up the gloves right now. And as a Gervonta Tank Davis fan, I would have to say, if he hung up his gloves right now, I don't think he would be a Hall of Famer either, in my opinion. I think there's still a lot of work for Gervonta Tank Davis to do. There's these big fights that we want to see him in that he hasn't done yet. And his peers, he has to fight these guys. Guys like Devin the Dream Haney, guys like Shakur Stevenson, guys like Teofimo Lopez. These are the fights that we wanted to see Gervonta Tank Davis in, and he hasn't fought any of those guys yet. Now, I will say this. He was going to fight Lomachenko, but Lomachenko opted not to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. But Gervonta Tank Davis must fight these guys to solidify his legacy. I think only then, we could be talking about a Hall of Famer career. Maybe he should unify some titles. He's never unified titles in his weight class. We know he's a 3-division champion. I think he only had a super title in one of those divisions. But unite some titles. Try to become undisputed. Do something else that you haven't done. Instead of them I don't want to say cherry picking, but I think at sometimes these fights are cherry picked. You know, I criticize Canelo Alvarez for this, so I can't be a hypocrite and not, you know, call out Gervonta Davis for some of these fights. This next fight with Lamont Roach, this is not a fight people call for. You know, we want to see you in the ring with the best competition. You are, in some circles, known as the face of boxing. You're a cash cow, and with that comes great responsibility, and people want to see you in the ring with the best that there is. I always hold these guys to a higher standard. As a boxing fan, I want guys who are household names, guys who make a lot of money, to fight the best competition. That's the way it should be. And I have to agree with John Scully. He's not in that position yet. Not saying that he won't ever be, but he has to do the work. He has to do the work if he wants to be a Hall of Famer. He's a cash cow, yeah. He's must-see TV, but it's still things left for him to do. You know, he still has a lot of work to do. And he's young. You know, he's young. He's a talented fighter. He seems like he has a lot of confidence in himself. I don't know if it's his team not putting him in these big fights. Who knows? But John Scully's right. He would not be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion, if he was to hang up those gloves today. But anyway, just wanted to get my opinion on that, guys. It is kind of late, so I'm going to get washed up and head to bed. But I want you guys to give me your opinion on this. How do you feel about what John Scully said? How do you feel about what Gervonta Tank Davis said about Artur Beterbiev? Do you think Artur Beterbiev is a shoo-in for Hall of Fame? You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.